Alright, what's up, y'all? Today is the 29th of May, 2025. My name is Evan Strong, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. This is In the Image Clothing Company Podcast, episode 127, titled The Physical Substance Dependence Story. And this isn't some kind of thing. This is many years of my life. I was physically, as in my body itself, was chemically dependent on medication and substance, right? The same things that people abuse. And yeah, it wasn't my choice. And we'll get into it. Yeah, okay. I'll play a little something though on Red the Guitar here. We'll talk about each of the four sides of In the Image Clothing Company. I'll talk about where clothing sits, and then we'll actually get into the discussion. Okay, so. Got lots of knots inside my hair again. Got lots of knots inside my hair, and when will it just subside? When will it just go right out with the tide? Knots in my hair, knots in my hair. I did that as a freestyle a few months ago. I titled it Knots in My Hair. So, talk about knots in the hair, man. Dependence to, physical substance, man. Because before I get into it, the reason I word it like that, the physical dependence, right? Yeah, because people, people get addicted to things. But there's an episode of In the Image Clothing Company podcast, one of those earlier episodes titled Dependance. And I went over that and how dependence and addiction are much, much different than one another. And some people don't know that. But your body can get physically dependent to something, and it's not an emotional or an intellectual thing. And it's not you as who you are. It's your physical body and its chemical makeup. There's a balance of chemicals in the body naturally, and when we place a concentrated amount of something into us, it alters the balance that's naturally in our body. Like dopamine naturally gets balanced in the body. Electrolytes naturally the body will balance for us, things like that. Physical things. So I'll get into it. It's not like this happened one time, some crazy fluke story. This is many years of my life. I was going through a lot, okay, that I'll talk about. Dependence, withdrawal. Yeah, a lot of crazy that I just, just kind of one of those things, as I talk about it, I really have gone through a lot and had a lot of life experience and life experiences. So, that's really what we do here under In the Image Clothing Company podcast. We talk about the gospel of Jesus Christ, aka the truth of all things. And, I've definitely got, the right, I guess, to say the things that I do and to talk about life as I do, because I've definitely lived it big time, just life in general. And so I'll get into it. But yeah, this is our podcast, man. And that's little Red the guitar, little 3/4 size Johnson JG 610R, okay, with nylon strings, because I I'm Evan Strong, and I do crazy things with nylon strings, okay? But, yeah, 4 sides to In the Image Clothing Company as a whole, okay? Yeah, one of our fourths is the main side of In the Image Clothing Company, where it all started, always our main side. Keyword, allowing the human body to work. As I say, it's just the case. Our bodies are just a mechanical machine placed onto a rock in space. Everything within the body, joint-wise, has a neutral position, and from there it has operations in the ways that it does. And the body has to reside in its neutrals, otherwise it just is on an excessive one end or the other, and that's damaging. Okay, chronic patternings and scar tissue get built up into the body. We show the truth of how to get out of those things. There's a center line to the human being, a sternum, a spine, a trachea, and a nose. And then our jaw, naturally stabilizing our entire body, is naturally, naturally, in the center as well. The goal for all 4 sides of In the Image Clothing Company is natural. So 2 feet, opposing the center line, gripping arches inward, keeping us vertical on Earth's gravity. There's only one way the human body could ever do anything, ever, for everybody, always, only, and that's it. So we place clothing on us, and it has to stay balanced, otherwise our bodies can't be, okay? So, In the Image Clothing Company, clothing will always stay centered, fit correct, where I'll discuss here in a minute, be made from 100% natural materials because the human body is as well. And materials themselves are as damaging in the ways that they are as physical size and weight imbalances in clothing. Yeah, stretch within clothing. It didn't even exist decades back from today's date, and stretching is the opposite direction of the only way that muscles could ever work. There's a video on the main side of In the Image Clothing Company titled Muscles Only Contract, and that is the case. Like the arm here, the bicep contracts to close the arm joint, and then on the opposite side of the upper arm bone, the tricep contracts to extend the arm joint. Okay, so there you go. Okay, the main side of us, but we talk about all things that we do physically as a human being, and a human being is just a physical thing. Okay, eating, sleeping, standing, hydration, walking, sleeping, breathing, all the things, okay? Truly. There's only one way they can do it. It's just functions of the body, and the body can only do what God designed it to. And that's big, right? With having a dependence to substance that alters your body's only workings, okay? We'll get into this as thoroughly as I get into this, okay? So another fourth of us is In the Image Clothing Company music, and I show how to size and set up guitars to not alter the hands, okay? Our hands are essentially our shoulders, as our feet are essentially our hips. The body can only ever work activated as a whole. Anywhere any of the body goes, the rest of it has to come, okay? It's all connected. Everything has a role to play. So, also music that I make is on In the Image Clothing Company music, okay? As of today's date, that freestyle that I just kind of like did a rendition of is there, okay? For example, that's what I mean. I play fingerstyle guitar, though. Strumming isn't really my main thing. Yeah. But I do it well. I'm really good at guitar. We have another fourth of us, In the Image Clothing Company poodles. We specialize in standard purebred poodles, and our slogan for In the Image Clothing Company poodles is letting dogs stay natural. Dogs live in the same unnatural world that us human beings do nowadays. There's flooring that's slippery and flat that's damaging to their feet, traveling through their whole body. Dogs have a center line as well, okay? They have the same things that I say as human beings having, right? Sternum, spine, trachea, nose, jaw. It's a dog. It has gravity pulling on it the same way that human beings do. It's just a mechanical machine as well. So, dehydrated kibble. We rehydrate kibble. Okay, extracting water from food is unnatural for any life form on Earth. Unnatural materials are what dog toys and products are often made out of nowadays. Things like polyester, which is just oil that's been pumped from the earth, and that's very damaging to anything that is a life form, okay, on Earth. So, yeah, we do a lot of advocating for proper breeding, okay, purebred dogs, as I was saying, proper ownership of dogs, taking accountability as owners of dogs. We will have poodle parade events where we get together here in the state of Utah, the United States of America, where In the Image Clothing Company is based, getting together at parks or going on walks, hikes, right? There's a lot of diverse terrain here in Utah, and just hanging out with dogs, but also discussing what we do to let dogs stay natural. Poodles, purebred of any size, and or poodle mixes of any size are the only dog breeds ever allowed at Poodle Parade events for many reasons, okay? And just make sure you check scheduling for everything on InTheImageClothingCompany.com, because specifics, right? Times, dates, what to and not bring. So, yeah, okay. The main side of In the Image Clothing Company are events where I get together with people and discuss the anatomy of the human body, how to allow it to work, free modifications in clothing to do, discussing our company and what we are as well. All the events, right? Just check the scheduling and specifics, okay, when they come, okay? So, yes, dog products, as well as In the Image Clothing Company clothing, same design, intentions, okay? Minimal, light, brandless on the exterior. Yeah, okay. Dogs get damaged by something like a collar, just the same as how we need to, quote, keeping collars centered, right? A video under the main side of In the Image Clothing Company. That's the title, right? So, quote unquote, right? I mean, I say that so often because a lot of things got to see context before you can see what they are. Yeah. Man, all right, cool. So breeding program under In the Image Clothing Company poodles as well. Breeding standard poodles, okay? Through the American Kennel Club, they will all be registered properly. It's like giving your dog a birth certificate. Okay, good stuff. Clothing for everybody has to sit in the same location. Pants need to be, if you are any of these people, a man or a woman, tall or short, skinny or fat, any age, any part of the earth, any time period to ever be, they got to be above your hips, the pants. So there's no restriction to the hips. Slightly higher in the front than the rear for the waistband angle, okay? Because our core muscles are only there to stay constantly activated and support the entire body. And they just would, unless there was any reason they couldn't and weren't able to. Clothing, okay, and placed on the body incorrect is the reason. Truly. Okay, clothing's the only fix for human beings' physical problems, even internal things, because it travels through the whole body. Any imbalance or compensation that tries to happen, okay? Now, the tops that we wear have to sit evenly behind the peak of our shoulders because our shoulders can only ever work behind our head, okay? Things like the dreaded collar C modification under In the Image Clothing Company, button-up shirts have a band of material that naturally sits behind the shoulders, all right? The edge seams of our tops need to be right at the edges of our shoulders because that's just where the functionality of the joint is. Otherwise, it's damaged, okay? And then the whole body to the tip of the toes and throughout, okay? From the shoulder seams, tips of the fingers, top of the head, okay? Yeah, two things we have as prerequisites under In the Image Clothing Company to further not alter the body, but they are conditional because there's not always ropes in our shoes, just as there's not always tags in our clothing. There's only one way to weave a rope across the top of the human feet without altering their mechanics. That's what we title In the Image Clothing Company's shoelace technique, found wherever you find our 5-word name as a whole, In the Image Clothing Company. And with that, we also tie shoes as human beings, okay, not only lace them, and we have to do it evenly on both feet because they're opposing the center line of the human being, so over toward the inside on both feet, okay, we tie our shoes. And then removing tags is a must. Anywhere tags are in clothing, they're either causing a physical gap, changing the body's only working position, and or just not allowing musculature to activate, like the ones in shoes that don't often actually like stick out, okay? And then the body just is damaged throughout all of it, okay? No compensation can happen within the human being. Everything's there to play its role, all right? So there you go, dude. There you go. Look at the top of my head if you can see it. A little bit of context, I guess, if you're watching in visual plus audio of In the Image Clothing Company podcast. It's also just an audio only as well, but there's a lot of musculature on the scalp, okay? Between the skin and the actual physical skull of our head, there's muscles. And anyway, our shoulders need to be in their only neutral position for our skin on top of our head to not be just chronically stretched, okay? And our feet arches need to be able to actually have room rather than incorrect lacing that's almost always there in shoes in this current modern day. Okay, and then in traveling, down and up through the whole body, it won't allow the scalp to just be free and have motion, as you're able to see here if you're watching this. Okay, so here we go. Let's get into it, brother. Yeah, so I was a kid one time, 16 years old. I started going through it, bro. I mean, I was just going through a lot of stuff in life, and I got put onto mental health medication for all that they labeled it as, right? Whatever they wanted to claim something was. Depression, anxiety, panic disorder, bipolar 2 disorder. And yes, all of those they labeled me with. Oh, great. Good. You've thrown some words out to try to say what is going on. Now, what they did after that was give me substances to put into my body, okay? And it's crazy because, yeah, there's times there where, okay, so yeah, from age 16 to 22, brother, I was on mental health medication, and at times I was on 4 at a time. Pills is what they were, right? Just like little tablets of compacted chemistry experiments, and it was quite the experience, right? I mean, that's what it is. You just take whatever they put in that stuff and just pack it up into this tiny little thing, and you put it into your body, and then it just dissolves in your saliva and your stomach acid and goes throughout your whole system and just gives you a buzz. Because I was on medication that people would do drugs with, clonazepam, yeah, Lexapro, lithium, Latuda, olanzapine, trazodone, okay? And, yeah, I mean, I was on medication, man, stuff that people try to go get, in the streets, to get a little bit of a buzz. That's the kind of stuff that I was taking, and my body built up a physical dependence to it. Where, like I was saying at the beginning there, there's a balance of things in your body, and as I talk about with the anatomy, as far as the physical functioning, of the human being, operation-wise, right? Rotations, levers, hinges, everything has to play its role, otherwise other things are being damaged. And, in the body's chemical balance like that, there's roles of things in the body, like magnesium, potassium, sodium, and calcium, and, electrolytes to keep the body's hydration system balanced, through the kidneys, and dopamine levels in the brain, and, I mean, in the bloodstream, there's levels of oxygenation that your blood either has or doesn't, and there's just balances in the body, otherwise it doesn't work, There's a video under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company titled, "The Human Body's Only Normal." And I talk about how 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit is where the body sits. And if you're 1-2 degrees off of that, your body's potentially going to shut down and you're going to die. I mean, it's that specific, the normal that the human body has, and our resting heart rate, it just stays where it stays. I mean, mine's much lower, but I've had 6 heart surgeries, right? 2 full-on open heart surgeries. I've had valves worked on and replaced, shunts put in, but some people's heart rates, rest right around 60-something beats per minute. Mine's more around mid-40s to low 40s beats per minute. But it just stays there. There's just a normal for the body in all the ways that it does anything. That's why I say the phrase so extremely bold, and there's no opinion to it. There's only one way the human body could ever work. Because I don't just talk about clothing like I'm some fashion person. I'm a clothing designer, yes. But I know the anatomy of the human body in depth. I know the internal workings of the body, how to really keep it hydrated. how to eat naturally, how to sleep naturally. And I know these things out of personal experience, and I do them in my own life, and they work, okay? I just speak things as they are. And there's chemicals in the body, and the human brain is just an electrical system. I talk about the nervous system of the body, the brain stems the spine through the brain stem, right at the base of the rear of our skull, with like wires, essentially. I mean, that's literally what it is, actually. Yeah, our nervous system, and it goes through our spine and then out to the extremities, to the fingertips, to the toes, to the top of the head. And man, there's just only one way it can happen. Otherwise you have to go to a brain person, and people get brain surgery because they've had like an injury that altered the way that their electrical system of their body stemming in their brain works, right? And so when you just introduce chemicals as such a dense, compacted little thing, you put it into your body and it just goes throughout your whole body, it's altering it. And then if you do it daily, right? Like I was taking pills in the morning, each morning. And then some I was taking in the night, each night, like right before I'd go to bed. But then like clonazepam, I was taking it 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, and evening. And there was years within this period of time I'm talking about of my life that I was on 4 medications every single day that are these type of things, like mind-altering medications. When we say mind-altering, what it really means is literally physical brain matter altering. Like I'm saying, it's an electrical system. And so your body then builds up a dependence to it because it learns to do all that it can do, which isn't ever normal. Normal, natural, neutral are all synonyms with the human being, and there's no opinion to it. There's only with the way the body would be until we do something to alter it. We didn't create it, right? We didn't design it. We can't decide it. The episode of the Image Clothing Company podcast titled that. Yeah, dude. And I'm sitting here taking medications day in, day out for years. My body built up a dependence, meaning after that much time of having to do all that it can to alter itself and its only workings to try to accommodate for this foreign substance placed into it, routinely, on the daily, like that, your body doesn't know how to work without it after some time goes by. And so you get what's called withdrawal symptoms. And now your body can only do what it's been doing with, depending on that substance being placed into it every single day. And then if it stops being placed into it, the body can literally shut down physically. No emotions with this, what I'm talking about. No mental health stuff like emotional, mental, psychological, out of like traumatic, none of that garbage for the sake of what I'm talking about here, and just the physicality of dependence to substance that the doctor is giving you to try to address something happened, something that happened when you're like in 3rd grade and somebody pushed you off the swing set and you got all upset about it and didn't fully cry out all your, pain. And so they pump your body with stuff from the periodic table, right? No, you can't do that. You can't. No, this is what I mean, right? We live in a man-made world placed onto God's earth. You're never going to help somebody by altering the chemistry of their physical flesh. No. Well, in the ways that they intended on happening is what I mean, no. Times and places for things, of course. In ways there's like, like people who have, illnesses in their body where they lack a certain nutrients and they have to supplement it. But something that would like naturally be in the body, you can't just introduce chemicals to the body and claim that you're going to be like a person to help you, right? A mental health specialist. No. False. It doesn't work. What it does is numb your body, man. It numbs your senses. It doesn't numb your emotions out of some type of like what it means to like have love as an emotion or anger as an emotion. It numbs your body's chemistry. It's electrical system. It's balances of whatever is in the body. Oh, my heavens. It's just so crazy how far off we are as a society. I mean, this isn't some kind of opinion of like, I just kind of take a stand against medication. It's no, your body is a thing we didn't design, and it's something that's amazing. You get cut and your body heals itself. You're breathing constantly, otherwise you're dead. And you don't do that, your heart's beating, like we were saying, X amount of times per minute. And you're not doing it. You're blinking all the time, otherwise your eyes would dry out. And you're not doing it. God does these things. And we can't just try to alter the body to claim it's going to fix some type of past triggery trauma, or the kid's acting out, this medication will fix him, or the girl's so, emotional, put some like, I don't know. I want to say something silly, but I'm just saying it as it is as silly as you need it to be for it to be silly. Let's put some trazodone in this kid, right? Well, what is that? What is trazodone? What is clonazepam? What is, sounds like I'm playing a game of Jeopardy. Shout out to the TV show. I mean, what are these things? You can claim they're doing whatever you want to claim they're doing, but no, you don't. You can go to school and you can have a textbook tell you all the words the textbook says, but you can look at things as they are and see that the human body is just something that only has one way it could ever work. Okay. Yeah. So my whole body, dude, physically was just in shambles. And you get to a point where sometimes the withdrawal symptoms are worse than the side effects from the medication. And then you can't decipher between which thing is actually happening, because you place a foreign substance into your body and it alters it. Because I talk about eating, and when we eat, saliva is the first form of digestion to the human being. Okay, before our food gets anywhere near the actual like intestines and the stomach, down in the digestive tract and in our core area, saliva breaks down carbohydrates and fats, and we need to eat, and to take small enough bites that just fit inside of our teeth rather than filling our cheeks with food. And our saliva needs to fully mix with everything we eat, and we need to chew things very, very, very small so that by the time they do get into the digestive system and are in the lower part of our body, it can fully extract the nutrients and use it thoroughly, because there's only one way the human body could ever work, and that's how it's designed to eat. And so if we're talking about food, and I say how it's a foreign substance to the body until it, gets acclimated once it's inside the mouth, food, what I mean is like natural stuff. The only thing the body can actually use to digest anything unnatural just goes straight through your body. It can't take anything from it because there's nothing in it to help you. And these substances, who knows what they really are? I'll tell you one person that doesn't. Me, Evan Strong. You can do all the research you want, and they can tell you what it is on the periodic table, and, is this element from this part of the earth, and blah, 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 blah. But who cares? It's not naturally going to be in the human body, and so it damages it. And I know that. No opinion, like I said, right? It's not like, since I have this company, and all 4 sides of my company, which, by the way, there's 4 whole sides, the goal is natural, and so I just, substances, no, it's not like that, but it's, these are substances. Just that word in itself, it's like, what does that mean? It's unnatural, it's foreign to the body, foreign objects to the body. You get something in your eyeball, or you get like a bee sting, or you get, a mosquito bite, and these are foreign things that have entered your body, and your body's like just doing all that they can to reject those things. And it's the same type of reaction that your body has when you place these chemicals into it, okay? But they have to travel through it. Once you put something in your mouth and it goes down into your body, it has to travel through your whole body before it can come out of your endocrine system. But not only that, these substances are designed to like diffuse into your whole being to make you something you're not. Yeah, it's devilish. It's evil. Yeah. So I went through so much withdrawal, man, and that was the hard thing is because well, the side effects for the medication was one thing. I'd take medication in the morning before I'd go to work, and then often I'd have to be so late for work because I'd sit in my car and I'd just be like this. For those of you watching in visual, like I couldn't keep my eyes open, I couldn't look straight. I would throw up so many mornings before I even got to work after taking my medication. And then it's like, well, I took the thing for it to be in my body, but now I've thrown it back up. So now what? Do I take another one? Because it might happen again. So why am I putting it in my body in the first place? My body's rejecting it. What's going on? Okay. This is just how it is with what these things are. Man. And then doctors will try to push it and like, we got this new breakthrough with this big old plastered smile on their face. They're pumped full of silicone and they're fake as can be, telling you how good your life will be, and the devil is just like shining through them. It's crazy. This is how it is, dude. This is just really how it is. So yeah, claiming to be mental health specialists, right? People that are there to help you. No. They don't know what they don't. No. I mean, just it's no. No. It couldn't help. It can't do. No. I mean, no. I mean, just yeah. The amount of times I threw up. I mean, I couldn't keep food down. I couldn't walk. I was so dizzy in so many times. I had they call stuff like that. Then yeah, like yeah, just yeah. Whatever they want to call it, and attribute it to, and restless leg syndrome. Well, of course, we're talking about the nervous system of the body, as in your sensory system, and you're putting chemicals in it to alter its natural state. Yeah, your nerves are just going to be firing weird, and then they got stuff like, oh my gosh, yeah. Just all the side effects is what I mean. They list them out as if like it's okay for your body to develop all of these things all of a sudden because they want to claim you're benefiting in other ways from medication. When the side effects are usually actually worse than what they're even claiming the medication could possibly maybe and doesn't do for you. Yeah, so, I mean, I was just, you talk about, like, disassociation. Like, I was just so, like, this, like, hi. Like, hi, literally hi. It's not a joke. It's not like these are, like, it's like I was doing drugs. No, I was literally taking medication that people do all that they can to get their hands on, to get high. Yeah. I mean, if you've heard of like Xanax, clonazepam is basically the same thing. And Klonopin, I was on that as well. I think, unless that's just another name for one of these. I think that might be clonazepam. But that's the other thing. So these medications have like 3-4 different names sometimes for the same thing. They don't even know what they're doing, dude. No. I talk about how I've got a problem with specialists. And I usually mean it like physical therapists, chiropractors, personal trainers, orthopedic people, because the human body could only ever work as a whole, activated in its entirety, just because it would. Unless we restricted it with something, there'd be no reason it wouldn't, and there's actually no way it can do anything other than that. Just because you can't drag around dead weight. All of your body's there, and it all has to play its role. And so, within the body, the balance of things, there's a balance to things. And if you are intentionally placing X amount of milligrams of something, right, that's how they measure it. It's like, take this many milligrams of whatever it is on the periodic table. It's like, why? Well, it'll make you smile. No, it will not. It will alter my body's chemistry in an unnatural way that is nothing but damaging. I mean, it's as obvious as it gets. I mean, I've said that phrase so many times, was just the only way the human body could physically, operation-wise, work, right? Like, mechanically. But in these cases, it's the same thing. When you see actually what's going on, no, there's no opinion anybody could have to this. But people are just so blind and they don't know what they are talking about, okay? That episode of In the Image Clothing Company podcast titled You Don't Know What You're Talking About, it was like 3-ish episodes back from this one, give or take. Yeah, you don't even know what you're doing. Claiming to be a specialist. You read somebody else's book that they wrote off of somebody else's information that they got from somebody else's blah, 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 right? You don't know what you're talking about. And there's people out here of all ages living in agony and physical, like, poisoning, literally, and you claim to be you're someone who's there to help, you know? You got no idea what you're doing. No, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know how much damage they're causing. And so, yeah, because, I mean, there was times in my life where, I finally was starting to come off of some of these medications, and I couldn't drive, I couldn't even walk. So many times when I couldn't even walk from my bedroom to the bathroom, 2 doors down the hall in our house, because I would just fall over. I couldn't even stand up. I couldn't even, like, form sentences at times. Like, yeah, I was literally being poisoned and drugged. Yeah. And so, I talk about how, well, yeah, just my experience with work throughout my life. And, what's crazy is the years of my life that I worked were the same years of my life that I was on these substances. And it was hard enough to just function at all. Chemically, no matter any kind of emotion or what you want to try to claim is going into anything. We're talking about the body actually, firing synapses in the brain, neurological things going on. Like, you get all, like, technical with it, because yes, that's all it is. That's all that's happening in these instances. It's crazy. As in literally, like, crazy. As in what that word actually means. Yeah. It's nuts, man. And so, yeah, this is another one of those things, where you just never know what people are going through. And so people saw my life and saw how I acted or how it looked, and they didn't know what was going on in any sense of anything, bro. Or they knew some things, but they don't know the extent, because nobody knows the extent of anybody else's life. We're individuals. It's our own life. So keep to yourself, bro, and just try to be understanding as much as you can be. It just takes experience, Some people just don't even have enough life experience to know that stuff like this is what it is. And you can't be held accountable for what you don't know, but then, get off people's back kind of thing, And I do it too. I get on people for stuff and I don't know what they're going through. All right, I do it. Sinful by nature. I'm imperfect, always in this life, as we all are. But anyway, man, I just, your body is just, regardless of how much you want to stop it, or you never wanted to take the medication in the first place, or whatever, you physically, you can die if you stop it, what they call cold turkey. If you just entirely just, okay, going from, like, taking 4 medications a day to just stopping it altogether, your body's system, again, chemically, electronically, can just shut down and you can just die, because it doesn't know how to function unless it, like, eases back into normal, right? The human body's only normal, because there is one for everybody, only and always. Okay. So I just went through it, man. And this is one of those stories, it's like, you don't know, you don't have to feel bad for me in any way. It's not what this is about. But it's one of those things, just like, I talk about it because the last episode of In the Image Clothing Company podcast, I actually said it was 125, but it really was episode 126. I just said the wrong number in the episode, but it's titled right where it's placed. But it's titled I Already Told You. And yeah, I was talking about in that episode how I'm not naive. I'm not, trying to bash people who are, but just out of clarity. And oh my goodness, I've got 125 episodes, 126 episodes, and now this is what 127, okay, of In the Image Clothing Company podcast, of just me explaining a lot of my life to where you have context, whoever you are hearing this, that you can go hear. Now, I've been through so much in life. I'm not naive. I'm not ignorant to what life really is. And I think a lot of people think that I am because of the way that I maybe seem to them or whatever, okay, the way that my life looks at whatever time. No, I mean, I've been through so, and I don't want to say it out of some kind of like, for anyone to care, but out of like where the information that I speak is coming from, I've been through so much, like just such a diverse and depth amount of experience that people just, don't in life. And I'm only 25 years old, like I know what I'm talking about when I speak on things, otherwise I usually just don't speak. And so, yeah, man, I mean, it's nuts, dude. I mean, you're not yourself. You're not in control of yourself, and it's not your fault. You're physically poisoned and altered, and I mean, people, if they want people to be like subdued and like do things with them or for them or whatever, they'll drug people. And I mean, that's literally what I was having happen to me for 6 years, daily, continually, to the point where my body couldn't function without it until it was able to, get acclimated to normal again, man. And that's just how it is, bro. And so, you know, I talk about how that was my shoulders, both of them popping. I worked my life away for so many years, man, and I was doing that in this physical state of being. And it's stuff you just couldn't explain to people, and no matter if you did or not, they just wouldn't be able to understand it to the depth of like what you're really experiencing, and so, man, dude, I mean, yeah, it's one of those things, people are already just on your back when they are, no matter who you are. It's like, man, get off my back about it, let me be, let me live kind of thing. But when you're going through that much stuff, and just in that avenue of what I was going through, and then the rest of my life was just all sorts of crazy at so many times in my life and for so many reasons. And so, I was a touchy kid, man, and I snapped at people, and I still do. But that's the thing, is if you see really what I have been through, not to like, cater to me or like give me special privilege, but like just to see like, nah, okay, yeah, I get it. You've come from like like being raised by wolves kind of upbringing, and that's the case. In a way that I could never fully like explain to anybody for them to be able to understand what it really was. Yeah, I mean, yeah, no comparison. People got their experiences, and people's lives are crazy, but mine do. I mean, it's something that, I mean, it's like you make a movie about it kind of life, yeah, it's nuts, dude. And so I get it, and that's a big thing when I talk about. Oh my gosh. Just I'm the person who's the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, talking about the human body as it is. And what gives me the place to say things so blunt and bold as I do? Well, stuff like this. Like, I've lived it, you know. So that's why I don't put up with stuff, bro, like bullying, and people just not being understanding, and man, these people got no idea, man. Some people, I'm not saying this out of like taking a stab at somebody or whatever, but it is the case. We're all given a different plan here, and some people live a fairly comfortable life, truly, throughout it. And then some of us just get thrown stuff like this, bro, where it wasn't our choice, it wasn't our decision, and we just have perspective that other people just lack, and it's not their fault if it's not their fault, right? But what is yours to take, accountability for is doing all you can to be understanding and caring toward people, not expecting things of people that they can't even live up to. Man, I mean, I put my foot through the floorboards over bullying, bro. Anytime I see it, when I say stuff that sounds like it's offensive and like people could claim it's bullying, nah, you gotta see what I'm saying and where I'm coming from, dude. It's because I have perspective that I'm so bold on the things I'm bold on. I mean, man, people are just so, yeah, I mean, just, people expect you to act a certain way, but they don't realize that it's sometimes physically impossible, like that. You're literally chemically altered, and they're expecting you to like, act in a different way than you just, can. It's just stuff like this, I mean, you just got no idea of what you got no idea about. That's the thing, bro. People just, yeah. People are so judgmental, man, and people got no idea what's going on, and then they blame people for doing stuff that's not their fault, stuff like this. I mean, people expect other people to be perfect, and those people, man, are serving the devil in those instances. So anyway, I just, because I could get into also, any story that I could get into about, a lot of experiences within those 6 years of being physically drugged, literally. I mean, yeah, and what all that was, just no sleep, and I got special permission to graduate high school early, with like a lesser number of credits than is normally required because it was during this time. I was 17 years old when I graduated high school, and so I mean, there's a lot to happen, bro, and you know, uh, already living in a house where it was crazy growing up, bro. Dynamic wise of relationship and everything, and then this on top of that, I was trying to just live, like, as in trying to survive, trying to stay alive, literally, in ways that again, one of those things no one could ever understand, and I don't expect anybody to, but what you're expected of by God is to be understanding and a little bit more sensitive toward people, and just kinder, when you can be. I mean, right? Some people are just so evil, truly. Yeah, that there's children of the devil, we're all sons and daughters of God, but it says so clearly in scripture, the devil, he'll abandon his children, and God will never abandon us, he's the one who never leaves the one behind. He'll leave the 99 on the mountain to go find the one who went astray. Something just popped up on the screen of this device I'm filming, and I didn't know if it cut off, because that's what happened to episode 126 that I actually said was 125 in it, right? The one I was just referencing, the storage space filled up, and so it just cut off at the end where it cut, right? So, but anyway, yeah, I mean, the devil will abandon his children, man, and there are people who are just literally children of Satan, actually, legitimately, not in any kind of like, like name calling, but as it is. I mean, again, the gospel of Jesus Christ is the truth of all things, and yeah, man. I mean, we need to try to serve Jesus Christ all that we can. Yeah, man. So, but that's the thing, I mean, I always had a hard time in the mornings waking up, and my whole life I have, and to a degree, everybody does, who likes mornings, except for some people really love mornings, truly. But there are certain things that never could have been an excuse on my end. But things were going on in my life, man, that no matter if I tried to explain it or not, it wouldn't really change, the people's expectations of me who were just going to have expectations of me regardless, stuff that I could never achieve or reach. And so stuff like this, I mean, being so medicated, my body just wasn't able to physically function, regardless of how much, like, willpower I wanted to have, or like how tough I claimed to be, or somebody who thought I was, or no. I mean, your body literally being chemically altered, there's only so much you can even physically do. It's as real as it gets, bro. And you got no idea if you got no idea. So just keep your mouth shut about it is what I mean, you know? Man, dude. Yeah. Yeah. So this is what I mean. I love the topic of being naive and ignorance and being judgmental and the whole thing I say about condemn me for what I have said or condemn me for what I have done by all means because I've done it and I cannot take it back. I can't change it, you can't change it, and so you're only sinning by being judgmental at that point because it's just there. Things are just what they are. So stuff like this. Call me naive all you want, You got no idea. I just keep my mouth shut and I don't sit there and try to talk about things as if I'm so much smarter than you, even when I am in a lot of cases. I'm not trying to claim something, but I just got life experience, bro. I know what's going on, and that's why I keep myself out of the things that I keep myself out of, Man, I mean, I've lived 1,000 lives in 25 years, bro, to such a degree that, yeah. I mean, it's crazy what I've been through, dude. Even people who have, been through a lot will be shocked, I mean, it's crazy. And so I just want to, I need to make it apparent, regardless of what I want or not. I've got this company here where I say a lot of bold things and tell people how it is because things are just as they are. God is the great I am. You can't change something. Truth is truth. And I got some experience, like an immense amount of life experience behind me to back what I talk about, to this word used correct, right? But to justify my boldness on things, In my notes, I have written down, episodes of In the Image Clothing Company podcast that we could potentially film. And one of them is why I'm so bold, and it's reasons like this. And if I make that episode, then we'll get into it in the ways that we get into it. But because I know what I'm talking about in the times that I speak on things, because I lived in hell, because I've been at the depths of depth, man. I've been like, there's that phrase like, you're out of your depth, kid. Kind of like you're walking into water and you get to a point where, it's above your head and you can't walk anymore without, drowning. You're out of your depth. There's only so much where so much where you can be within because there's, yeah, that's essentially what that phrase means. Meaning, my depth gets deep, bro. Not in any kind of like, you gotta care kind of way, but just like if I'm saying something, I'm saying it for a reason kind of way because I know what I'm talking about. All right, and that's why I sound so prideful a lot of the time too, because that just kind of comes with the territory, if you will. The territory that I've been in. You understand why I speak the way I do. I wasn't raised by, shoot. How real can we get? I'm staring at this painting of Jesus Christ. Within the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we talk about being raised by a loving heavenly Father. Well, okay, yes, but we talk about like loving parents. There's hymns for the children's hymn book. Talking about our loving family that we are raised by in the church. And it's not like that with everybody, bro. And I got raised essentially like I was raised by, a wild pack of wolves. In a sense, to a degree that's like, no one's going to try to be like saying I'm stretching it. If they, hear what it really is or just see what it really was or whatever, And so in no way am I complaining, but this is what I mean. This is why sometimes I start to sound like I'm like this, like I'm some kind of like kid from the hood, even though I grew up in American Fork, Utah, pretty well, upper middle class little neighborhood, raised in the church too, and that was the big thing, but I get it, dude. I mean, I've got perspectives that people, yeah, they grew up in like gang territory, and like real like, urban hood type of like, drugs on the corner, people dead in the alleyway kind of stuff. Like this is no joke kind of stuff. I mean, I didn't grow up in those kind of like physical environments, but like like as far as or outside of myself, but in my experiences and in the stuff that I didn't have a say over and everything, man. Yeah, I'm not naive, bro, and I'm not ignorant to life. And like, people talk about like the real world. Once you get out there into the real world, you're just a kid. It's like, nah, I was in the real world as a kid, but we call it the unreal world, right? Because God's earth and the gospel, right, is the truth. We're supposed to be in the world and not of the world. The world is unreal. Real and truth lies outside of the world, right? And I was raised in the world, bro, in worldly things in so many ways, right? And this is just one of them, talking about like, dealing with, poisoning from substances. And I'll get into talking about all the experiences I get into talking to you guys, whoever listens to this, about, under In the Image Clothing Company podcast, because that's what this is for. That's what my life is for, bro, is to be used as a testimony of God. As he is, as he says that he is, and in no way am I ever going to be able to go through the kind of stuff that I went through and stay alive, right? Not only come out on top or something, but just even survive, if God wasn't carrying me through all this garbage, bro. I mean, it gets crazy, bro. The stories of my life, of just as it really was, how I've experienced this earthly existence up until the point that I'm saying whatever I'm saying, at any time. It's been nuts, dude. And so, I don't put up with garbage. I think that's a big thing. People got a lot of petty excuses for things, and they're complaining about stuff, and high maintenance as can be, and I don't put up with that garbage because I've lived in the depths of hell, and in ways that were never my choice or my fault, and I never could have really done anything to change it in the moment. I kind of just had to live through it, So when I get so bold about stuff, and when I say like get off my back about things or leave me alone, that's what I mean. Like, yeah, I'm not just some kid who whatever. I got all sorts of sides to me, bro. But that's kind of like the phrase within this one. It comes with the territory. Sometimes I may get a little bit like reactant towards things, but you've been where I've been or similar places, and you understand why. It's like someone that grew up in gang territory, and they kind of react pretty harsh towards things that other people are like, bro, there's nothing even going on. It's like, well, you don't know where they came from. You don't know what's really behind that person. So, man, dude. But it's funny, I'm just a kid from Utah, and I love standard poodles, and